Welcome back to The Lead. It's time for the Politics Lead. It's been more than 8 months since 4 Americans were killed during a terrorist attack in Benghazi, Libya, and after all that time, we're still waiting for our government to give a clear explanation of what was happening on the ground in Libya and why requests for extra security were denied for months before the attack. What we do know, according to emails made public just last week, is that the State Department requested some substantial revisions to the intelligence community's talking points about the attack, including the removal of direct references to the possible involvement of a group with ties to al-Qaeda. Today, President Obama weighed in. Take a listen.
Nobody understood exactly what was taking place during the course of those first few days. And the emails that you allude to were provided by us to congressional committees. They reviewed them several months ago, concluded that, in fact, there was nothing afoul in terms of the process that we had used. And suddenly, 3 days ago, this gets spun up as if there's something new to the story. There's no there.
There's no there, says the president. Here to talk about it, former senior advisor to the Romney campaign, Kevin Madden, Hillary Rosen, who is a CNN contributor and Democratic strategist, and of course CNN contributor Ryan Lizza, who's Washington correspondent for The New Yorker. Kevin, Senator John McCain calls this whole thing a deliberate cover-up. Darrell Issa, the congressman from California who is leading the investigation on the House side, said that Hillary Clinton is not the focus of this. Take a listen.
I'd call it a cover-up. I would call it a cover-up in the extent that there was willful removal of information which was obvious. It was obvious.
Hillary Clinton's not a target. President Obama's not a target. The target is, how did we fail 3 different ways? Fail to heed the warnings of an impending attack, fail to respond properly during the attack. At least we certainly could have done better, and I think everyone knows that. And then fail to get the truth to the American people in a timely fashion.
So, Kevin, here's the question. That all seems reasonable, even if you disagree with it. But there is American Crossroads is running an ad against Hillary Clinton. Rand Paul, senator from Kentucky, is going to run for president in 2016, is out there making this a whole big issue about Hillary Clinton. Isn't there a real disconnect between what the Republicans are saying and what some of them are doing?
No, I think actually the words that and the sentiments expressed by Chairman Issa are pretty consistent with what I think the larger public is watching here, which is that there's not a target here politically, any particular politician. But the target here is the truth. The target here is a level of accountability and oversight. And that's essentially Congress's job, and that's what they're at. Now, I think that the truth and some levels of accountability may be inconvenient for some politicians in the end as we go through this process. But the target here is finding out whether or not the American public was misled. And then that is at the heart of, I think, what Chairman Issa and many of those folks up on Capitol Hill are doing.
I think the truth is inconvenient for Chairman Issa, who, if he was really seeking the truth, would have actually invited the chairman, the well-respected, nonpartisan chairman of the review document, Ambassador Pickering and Admiral Mike Mullen, who no one has ever accused of being partisan hacks. He would not let them testify in public, and instead he chose to go another way.
You're talking about just this last week, because he had invited them months before.
He had invited them to private meetings, but obviously and then he never held those private meetings. So if he wanted them, if he wanted to hear the truth, if they wanted to hear the actual facts, the fact is that the State Department took all of the recommendations of that review board. And, you know, I'm sorry, you don't have a hearing where you mention Hillary Clinton's name over 30 times and then get to say, oh, well, you know, this isn't about Hillary Clinton. This isn't about the public.
Those mentions came from Democrats who were singling out.
Let's take a step back.
There's 2 inconsistencies what you said there. The first is what the president said. There was one inconsistency there was the House committees actually pointed out that there was a massaging of those talking points. And the second thing is that Chairman Issa has invited Chairman Pickering up for a deposition. So there's inaccuracies.
I want to get Ryan's take on this. Ryan, does the public care about this issue?
Well, you know, we were talking about this before. This does seem like it's one of those issues that in our politics just becomes completely polarized, where Republicans and especially conservatives are hopping mad about this. They think there was this is a major issue, and a lot of Democrats are basically in a defensive crouch, willing to defend the president on this, and frankly don't care that much. This could change now. We have new information. What the president alluded to there in terms of the talking points coming out, he was saying that was no big deal. Yes, the White House released that. Well, they released it under the pressure of an investigation by the House, right? That adds a whole new set of facts.
They released it at a confirmation hearing.
The
White House did not. The White House did not. When reporters knocked on the White House door asking for more information about Benghazi, the White House did not hand that over. It was released under the pressure of an investigation.
Can you explain why President Obama took the tone he took today, which seemed to be meat for his base, right? Raw meat for his base.
Well, look, they have two stances on these two issues that are consuming them right now. On the IRS, he's absolutely saying what the IRS did is absolutely wrong.
Yeah, I mean on Benghazi.
But on Benghazi, I think that they think the facts are on their side to a certain extent, and they think that this is basically just a partisan football, and they're defending their actions 100%.
The Republicans are clearly overplaying their hand here because there aren't enough new facts to justify this. We're going to see a Senate Intelligence Committee report come out, a bipartisan committee report come out that Dianne Feinstein, the chairman of the committee, alluded to yesterday, that is going to say they've reviewed the same documents and facts that the Accountability Review Board did and found nothing. But over the last 4 days, the Republican National Committee has blanketed the direct mail, email. They are fundraising off of this to no end. That's an overplay of the Republican strategy. And that's why the Republicans...
Last word for Kevin, 15
always
seconds.
argue about the politics are usually the ones losing the public debate. And I think it was very clear from the president today and Democrats that they are terrified about the politics.
All right, we have to move on. Kevin Madden, Hillary Rose, and Ryan Lizza, thank you so much. Coming up...